Today, I'm going to be showing you how to create your own meme on paint.net. The first thing we're going to do is figure out what kind of a meme we want to make, and then I'm going to walk you through the whole process of how to do it, what tools are helpful, but just basically everything I've learned along the way, because it is a bit of a journey. You know, there's a few weeks you got to put into figuring it out before you be able to figure it out on yourself. And, a tutorial like this would have really helped me. So I'm going to go ahead and make a tutorial. All right, so I'm going to go to Google, which, by the way, if you ever want to be able to record something on your laptop, Flashback by Blueberry Software is what I'm using. Go ahead and delete that. All right, I'm going to do something interesting here. I'm going to stuff someone in a locker. So let's go ahead and look up locker images. See, these aren't quite what I want. Oh yeah, I need someone stuffing someone in a locker. Stuffing in locker. Alright, this looks like a good meme template, although this one looks pretty good too. I guess it depends what I want to do. Do I want to put one person in it, or do I want multiple people in it? Looks like this one has a little deal going on, so I'm going to go ahead and get this one, I guess, just for simplicity's sake. Save image as. Alright, see, I've got a little spot for my scrap images that I put all my images. It's just kind of a junk folder. That's what I use. Stuffing in locker. Organization is key. If you're not organized after you start making memes, they'll start getting everywhere and you'll start losing them, and it'll be hard to navigate things, and that's not very fun. So you should always try to stay organized. All right, paint.net. Paint.net is a little bit like Microsoft Paints, but like some of the features of Photoshop infused into it. It's a lot easier to control than Microsoft Paint. There's more options, but there's also more things you got to know about it. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to do. All right, this is your colors. It took me a while to figure out where that was. It's just right up here. Just click on it, and it'll tell you what kind of a color you need to use. This is your backgrounds, or your layers. My bad. So the first background is just this white slate. It doesn't have to be a white slate. As you can see, I could pull out an eraser, make this a little bigger, a little bigger. I could erase the whole thing. Now it's a transparent background, right? I don't think we're gonna want to do that, so we're just gonna use that image. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back. Oh, except, yeah, once you mess with this, the undo function will go in a feedback loop. So yeah, but yeah, that's what happens if you delete that. But we don't need that. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to open the image we want to edit on top of. Don't mind all this clutter. Stuffing in locker. Open. So as you see, we got the image of this guy, stuffing him in a locker. Go ahead and change that back. So what to show you first? Let's show you the toolbar over here. All right, so this is select. That selects an area of pixels. This function will allow you to change what the borders of your selection is without altering the image at all. This one will actually allow you to move the pixels. Control Z to undo. Control D to deselect. You want to make sure you deselect. If you do not deselect, then usually if you try to do something else, it'll get hung up on the fact that you didn't deselect, and you'll have to deselect to move on with editing your image. Alright, so this was the rectangle select. This is a lasso select, which basically follows where your mouse goes. That can be kind of hard to use, especially since it'll deselect if you like go down to move your toolbars or your scroller things, whatever. This is an ellipse select. I don't really know what this is. I never use it, nor do I know what that is. Doesn't matter. Alright, here's your paint bucket. So if you remember on Microsoft Paint has a function where you have this paint bucket, you pick one color, you put it on a different color, and it changes that complete color to the different color. Alright, but this one has a lot more options. So you see here you got tolerance. If it goes up to 100%, it'll basically change the color of anything, not just the color you chose. If you go down closer to 0%, the lower numbers, then it's not going to change a whole lot. It's got to be exactly the same color throughout. So as you see, I'm going to guess that if I do about 60%, I'm going to be able to change his blue shirt, at least somewhat. I'm going to try red. As you see, it really changed a lot of things if you red. Now let's say you just wanted his blue shirt red. Let's try reducing the tolerance. And of course, it's not going to be like Photoshop. It's not going to be exactly what you want. This is more for like cartoons, editing your cartoons. But there's another option. It doesn't have to. So you go up here to the flood mode. There's continuous and global, or contiguous and global. Contiguous is everything's got to touch and connect. Global, it doesn't. See, now that hit all the spots that it wasn't otherwise going to hit. You could always boost this up a bit, see if it'll hit more. But of course, there's some spots, And like I said, using it on a real image isn't its purpose. Its purpose is for more so for cartoons and stuff with less complex colors that'll actually look like it'll go over it. If you want to change the color of a shirt to red, I would just use Photoshop or something. Yeah, I don't think that's a job for Paint.net. Let's see. All right, this is your paintbrush. So if you go over here to color, you can pick any color you want. Close to the middle is white. If you can select more, and this will give you more advanced options. There is a way to get darker colors. There's also a way to make an opaque brush. Let's see. Will this do that? Yeah, it looks like this is a quick option for getting darker colors. We don't necessarily want to do that though. And then of course here's your default. All right, so let's just pick black. Delete that. So you just slide this across your screen and it creates a line or whatever you want. Brush width can be huge, or it can be small. Just whatever you need on that. Pencil. I've never found much use for the pencil. It just seems like a simpler version of the brush. So I don't really just use the brush and just change the width. That seems to do all right. All right, this is the color picker. I pick his blue shirt. I turn around and use the paint bucket. See, somehow I picked orange. It made everything similar orange, And that's the thing with picking on normal images is a lot of the time it'll just pick a random pixel and it's not even necessarily the color you want. See, that one hit a blue pixel. It's more likely that I'm going to hit a blue than an orange on a blue shirt, but anything's possible, I guess. All right, so that's what the color picker does. Don't really know what this is. I guess it doesn't matter. I don't really know what that is. These are your lines. So if you want to create a line, of course you can't see that, but oh, this is something I want to show you. Let me get out my black color. And of course, if you don't want something, just throw it off of your screen and deselect, it deletes it. All right, so let's say this is your meme and you want to create borders around it. Now, of course, we can go down to shapes, but I want to show you how to do it with lines. You know, let's say we don't want to go all the way on the edge because I kind of want to show you something else with it. All right. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, which I'm going to set this first and then I'm going to show you. It shows you your angle, which that'll be useful for making sure it's straight. Sorry, see here, it says angle at 0 degrees. It also tells you some other stuff like the length in pixels, stuff like that. All right. You see how you have 4 dots here? These are the different segments of the line that you can control. So if you pull this one up, it's going to bend the line like this. You can also bend it forwards and backwards a little bit. Although if you're just trying to make it longer, I would just draw a new line so that you don't, you know, mess up the curvature and the angle. See, you can pull this up, stretch it however you need. Whatever you do is going to have an equal and opposite reaction on the other parts of the line. You know, kind of follows properties of tension in that sense. Do it with this one. Yeah, this is good for drawing. But anyways, just wanted to show you how to do that. So like what I would do is I would create my border like this. I would also look at the angle. We're going to want to hit 90 degrees on this angle. Sometimes it could be difficult. There we go, 90 degrees. Oh, all right. As you see, I did not hit my line all the way. I will show you how I get around this problem. All right, negative 180 degrees is where we're going to be on that one. Yeah, I'll move it like this. Make sure it lines up right. I think it's more chance than anything that I was able to kind of line this up near perfectly, but anyways. All right, as you can see, I only have one layer on this image. So if I were to erase this, I'm erasing the whole thing, right? So if I want to edit this line so that it's not clunky and it actually matches up, here's something I would do, you know, and this is kind of just a quick solution. You know, I would either draw or use a line. I think a line is a better use in this case. That's too big for what we want. Control Z. Yeah, do that. Yeah, never press undo if you mess with the brush width. I don't know why it gets in a loop. It's really annoying though. Okay, deselect. As you see, I just matched the color of the locker. You can't really notice that I matched the color because all the pixels are so similar in that area. You know, I just want this to line up. Oh, well, that's not very aligned at all. If I just get this to line up, then I can make it appear as though I never had a problem in the first place. Oh yeah, I can look at my angle on this. 90 degrees. And just slide that in. I mean, that's pretty close right there. I mean, you'll never notice that I was clunky with it after doing that. But anyways, we don't need this border. I was just showing you that function, although it's probably not going to let me remove it all now. Oh, there we go. It is. All right. So here's our image. All right. The only other thing I need to show you is the texts and then the shapes. All right, the text. I have never, up to this point, figured out if there's a way to put outlines on your text or to like give it special shadows or anything. I think that's a feature this is lacking, which is a little bit annoying because sometimes you need that bit of contrast on your image for something to show. But that's a really simple feature you can find on a lot of other apps. So, you know, if that's the only thing wrong with this program, then it's a pretty good program. But here's your fonts. Scroll down and whatever you want. I'm going to use one of my favorites, Constantia, or however you say it. Where is it? All right. Change how big it is here. You can bold it, italicize it, underscore it, strike out it. I don't think that's important. I don't think any of that's important. This will tell you how to line it up. Choose a color for it. I think yellow is going to show up good on this. That's really small. Let's bump it up to 50 or so. This is how you write text. Put it wherever you want. Once you deselect, it is now part of the image, and you're not going to be able to really remove it when it's on the same layer. So I'm going to show you how to do layers next after I show you the shapes. Alright, you know, just basic stuff. This is similar to Microsoft Paint. Square, or rectangle, rounded rectangle, ellipse, diamond, blah blah blah. You see all the stuff here. It's here. You can even do a call out, which sometimes these call outs can be annoying because it doesn't always, this thing doesn't always point in the direction of the cartoon you're wanting to use. So like sometimes I'll do something with this. Here, let me go ahead and just show you. Because this is really a good thing to do. Alright, so as you see, I made a new layer, which I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you two things at once here. The layers, these check marks right here tell you that the layers are activated. If you do that, everything on that layer disappears. See, my text disappeared because I pressed that. Press that, my image disappeared, right? So what this is basically, this is separate from this. So this image right here is not a part of the rest of this at all. It's not the same thing. So I can mess with this on this layer, and it's not going to do anything at all to this layer. And vice versa, I can mess with this on this layer, and it's not going to do anything to this layer. Alright, so I'm on layer 2. I can even rename it if I want, I think. Name. Second layer. And of course there is an opacity option. There is blending mode. I don't care about any of that. Alright. So, you know, I'm drawing this little text bubble here, and I'm wanting to figure out, hey, I don't think that's pointing quite to his mouth. You know, it's pointing kind of at his neck. I kind of want it to point more to his mouth. And there is one thing that you're able to do about this. It can be kind of a clunky option, kind of time consuming, but, you know, it's something to try. You know, something I'll do is you can just erase that and then just erase the rest. Or you could do the line thing like I showed you and just do a different color. And then, well, I don't know. The only problem is I don't think you can paint a transparent on any colors. I've tried it before. I don't think it works. So maybe that's a problem. But yeah, you can just like erase it, and it's not going to erase the background because it's on a different layer. Sorry. So get our line, put a line there to cover it up, kind of move it into place. All right, now it's just a rectangle. So at this point, we might as well have just drawn a rectangle. But what we could do from here is we can kind of choose how we want to point this. You know, and some are a little more dramatic than others. So perhaps I want to try to do it like that. You know, let's say that's visually appealing, just for the sake of the argument. You know, I'm so close to the edge, I might as well hit the corner. Hopefully that's not uncartoonist of me. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see it, but this is transparent in here. Colors do go over transparency. You just can't put transparency on a color, if that makes sense. I think it has something to do with the math and the program not recognizing it. It would be a lot more helpful if you could do it both ways, but you can't, and that's why. So you can just, yeah, we don't want to do that. All right, Control Z. All right, we're still on global. We want contiguous because we want it to stay inside of that. See, all right. So now it's like that. We can put this background back. And we were able to do that. Although, wait a second, I don't think most people fill in the color. Yeah, I don't think most people even do that. Yeah, what we should do is just erase this little segment right here, and then. But anyways, if you needed to do that for some reason, then there you go. All right, you just erase that. As you see, we have changed kind of how that is shaped. And you know, like I said, it's not necessarily going to be the most pretty. It's just an option. You know, you might have to trim the edges a bit to make it look right. And see, it looks like I might have trimmed a little too much, so just Control Z and I'll go at it a second time. Do it as many times as you need to. You know, a steady hand really helps. Sometimes it's better to just erase a little bit too much. Get a small brush and just kind of go back over. But anyways, I was just showing you how to do that. I don't have the steadiest hand myself. All right, so we don't need the second layer. This was just me showing you how to do some stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this layer if it'll let me. I think I gotta double click on it. Oh, right here. Delete layer. The second layer has been deleted. All right, now we're just back to our default image. Oh, except for that. Well, shoot, let me see if I can jump back here in time a bit. All right, we good? All right. So we got our image. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this because we don't need that. Don't save. File open. All right. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to put 2 anarchy balls on these people. Well, I could do anarchy balls or I could do actual people. I think actual people would be more humorous. It'd be more funny. So I might do actual people. But who do I want to stuff in the locker? Let's see. I could stuff. Well, let me see. You know, I could just use my anarchy ball to stuff Sterner in the locker. I mean, that's going to be kind of on theme with what I'm doing here. So let's find a good picture of Sterner. Although, do we want him smiling? I'm not sure if a smiling Sterner is the best expression for being stuffed in a locker. I think I have one with him not smiling, maybe. Right there. Not exactly sure, because this one has a black background, so that might be harder to edit. But we'll see. Let's just, you know, go from here. All right, let me get out my anarchy balls. All right, so that's not under scrap images, it's under tools. All right, so this document, I basically just hijacked from Anarchy Ball while I was working there. And I was just working there for like a week, but anyways, this is something they gave me. This is basically the same thing, but I added a couple things to it, and I'll show you how to keep up with a document like this and how to add stuff to it. But I'm also gonna help show you how to navigate it, kind of what exactly it is. So when you're an Anarchy Ball editor or any kind of anything similar, any of the offshoots or off brands or whatever, it's good to have lots of templates and lots of ways to make memes quickly because you're going to be making a lot of them. So as you can see, what they had going on here was up here at the very top left. They probably started with the top left. They have an outline right here. They have an assortment of different eye configurations, a couple extra that they made, some hats, more hats, accessories, guns. At the very top here, they have just the blank anarchy balls without any expressions. And of course, if you scroll down the line, they got every different expression on them. Most of them are just like quick creations. As you see with anarcho-transhumanist ball, they kind of did a thing for each of the eyes. Oh, of course they already made that up beforehand. Put a hat on him, did some other stuff at the bottom here. They got some status balls over here. They got some other stuff to play with. They even got the straw man ball thing. You got a funny picture of Trump. Anyways, yeah, they did a bunch of stuff like this. So the way this kind of works, as you see with layers, there's just one layer. It's just the background. So the way they did this is they probably started out with the outline on a blank document. I'll just show you. I'm just going to make something super quick just to show you, how they might have done this. Because this probably took a lot of work to create. All right, a good pixel size would be 2,000 to 3,000 pixels each way, at least 96 pixels per inch. So they probably started out with this. Control copy or Control C. Click over to this other document. First thing we're going to want to do is erase all of the whiteness. We get the hardness at complete here. As you see, when you hit to the transparent background, it's a checkerboard, right? So it's not the checkerboard that does it. This is just kind of what it shows, right? If you zoom in, you see that the squares on the checkerboard don't get any larger. It's just a symbolic representation of the fact that there's nothing there. All right, so we're going to Control V. All right. Let's say they start at the top left-hand corner of the screen. Control D to deselect. From here, we could literally just draw on this. But I think I made a mistake. Control Z. Let's get this off of here real quick. Never start editing without creating a new layer. It's just a good habit. Sometimes you don't need the layer. You're more likely to need it than not. Just create a new layer. All right. Colors. So I'm gonna get my toolbar over here as well. Let's just say we're gonna make ANCAP ball. We're gonna do it real simple. We're not gonna go to the lengths they did. But we are going to make this line a bit smaller. So, let's just fill in some black on this side. Control D before you move on to another color. If you don't, it's just going to change the color you're on. So if you don't believe me, see, it's just changing the dang color. We don't want that. So go to your color, deselect, and then move on. It'll save you some time. Put the yellow on the other one, Control D. So I'm guessing they just drew these eyes up on either this program or a similar one. Let's go to the standard happy eyes here. Control C. Control V. This is another instance where we're going to want another layer. See, if we just stick on top of that, it's going to erase part of the image and make it transparent. We don't want that. We want the transparency to be recessive to the colors. So we make another layer. And as you see, we got a little ink ball. Just kind of made it up really quick. You know, you can do anything you want to with this. You can move them around. Oh. Okay, so before you do that, here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to flatten the image so that you can control the whole thing. You don't want to just move around the eyeballs if you're going to edit it, right? Like I did. So you can move this around. You can flip it backwards. Change the size. Change how it's moving. You know, where, you know, it could be upside down or you just kind of looking up a bit. Make them fatter, skinnier, you know, basically the whole deal. But anyways, that's just some basic stuff on that. Like I said, to be able to control the whole thing, you'll flatten the image. When you save the image, you're either going to save it as a paint.net file, which it will not flatten it if you do that, or you're going to save it as a normal file that you can view on most applications and devices, like a JPEG or PNG or whatever. And that will flatten the image. Although once you do flatten it, you can Control Z to undo and continue editing, or you can go back to a previous version if you have that saved, you know, whatever you need to do. But once you save it as an actual image, it will flatten it. But of course, you can also flatten it beforehand, and I'll show you how to do that again, don't worry. All right, so we're gonna wanna create this meme. All right, we don't need the background's not super important. History, it's just whatever. All right, toolbar. Nope, we need layer. We need another layer. Add a new layer. So just threw a layer of transparency on this, although of course transparency is recessive to color. But another thing you might want to know is you can switch these layers around and it'll still be named what it is. So let's say, let me kind of show you what I'm trying to tell you here. I'm just flopping a picture of Sterner on this. Alright, if we switch the layers, it changes where the picture is. So this picture is underneath this one now, the background, which that's useless because then you can't see it at all. But, you know, just to show you, of course you can move it back and then boop, it pops back into existence. And that's how you do it. The use of that is like if you're putting sunglasses on like an anarchy ball, you know, and let's say it creates a layer in the middle instead of at the top. You know, you're just gonna want to like move that down so that it puts the glasses on top of the anarchy ball and not behind it, for example. So that's how you do that. All right, I really want to use this picture of Sterner. The only problem is how am I going to render this image to that face? Because there's all of this blackness. Let me think about this. I think I can, if I draw over the edges, I could possibly paint this over with white. And then perhaps I could erase it. So let me see if I can do that. You know, and sometimes when you're editing pictures, you do come into a point where it's just like, you know, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this, but, you know, let me try out a couple things. If it doesn't work, then I'll just try something else. You know, maybe not a line, maybe we just want something like this. And I'm not very good at drawing because I don't have a steady hand. Wow, I'm terrible. Hold on, let me zoom in for this. so we're gonna probably erase part of this so it doesn't matter that it looks funky. Alright, we can just kinda, I'm just gonna kinda snag this part. I'm looking for any signs of kind of this can be kind of difficult because everything's just hiding. Got all these black splotches kind of just hanging out. Don't want them there. All right, this is a problem. See that little blackness? It's connected. We don't want that to be connected. If you ever use Paint.net, the smallest pixel connection can on our contiguous paint bucket could mean things that we didn't want to get painted over. Even if it's close, sometimes being close is enough. Like all it has to do is one little pixel that's just barely a close enough color, has to be barely close enough to touch, and that's not good. All right, so this blackness is touching this. You want to make sure that this is isolated. And then believe I already isolated it. All right, let's see if this works. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna have to troubleshoot why it didn't. Tolerance of 47, probably a good start. There we go. Creates a nice little picture of Stirner here. Control D to deselect. Now I think I'm going to try to erase a large segment of this. This might be a little bit meticulous, but I'm going to try to do my best. Something I do when I erase is I click off, and that basically saves my little segment. If I were to accidentally, whoops, I erase Stirner, Control Z, but if you didn't stop, then it would have took all of that back with it, right? And that wastes time. So after you get a little bit, click off. And as you see the icon, you see it right here. I can't really point at it because it is my cursor. But you see the icon blinking. That's when you know that you're clicking off. There is another way to do this that's much faster, but there is a consequence. You can throw this on as a layer and then blend the layer in so that the whiteness disappears. The only problem with this is Stirner himself is white, so that would make his face transparent. So that's not exactly the most ideal option. Although we can experiment with it. Maybe we could put something behind Stirner or something so that his color contrast is better. I might actually try to do that just to see what happens. That might work actually. Might be a quicker way to do this and to get every little nook and cranny on this thing. But anyways, yeah, he's white. That's why. You wouldn't want his face to be transparent. That'd just be weird. That wouldn't look good. All right. So once you got him where you want him, we're just going to select him. Control C. I'm going to have another layer in here, so I might as well just plan for it now. Add new layer. Control V. I'm going to keep the canvas size. We're just going to shrink them down as we need them. And of course, we can edit this. This isn't going to be a one-time thing. We can change the size later. This head is actually in a pretty good shape for this image. That actually doesn't look too bad. All right, so what we're gonna do, let's see, where is it at? Layer properties. We want to be able to see what's going on with Stirner here. let's see what multiply does. All right, multiply takes the white out, which is what we want. Even though it makes it hard to see them, I think there's a thing we can do to get around this problem. So let us create, we're just gonna create like a little shape here. Just something to make this work. So the idea is we're just kind of drawing whiteness on this in-between layer so that when, because of course we told it to get rid of all the whiteness. Of course, we can't tell it just get rid of the outline. It doesn't work like that, and we can't paint bucket in transparency because the program doesn't understand that kind of a command. So because those options are not available to us, we got to work around. I could do something like this. Obviously, that's ugly sticking out. Just erase it like that. And as you see, I'm just using a really, really large border for a shape. Just a rounded rectangle. There's probably a million ways to do this. It doesn't have to be this one specific way. I might even go in with my paintbrush here, which I could have just done that all along, probably. Let's kind of get a smaller size because we got to fill in his nose. We want to fill in his glasses, his hairline. Make sure everything's good. Don't leave anything out. Get his collar real good. Did I get the whole thing? All right, we're just gonna get this bit of hair up here. Spots here and there. Oh, didn't mean to do that. All right. I think that's pretty close. Well, hold on, there's a little spot there, isn't there? Get a really small brush and just kind of chisel some of that out. I mean, it may or may not even be noticeable. But and as you see, if I run my paintbrush across Sterner, it doesn't do anything because his hair and the rest of his body is on a different layer. Although we are going to want to put these on the same layer so that we can move and adjust him ubiquitously. All right, so here's how we do this. Go up to layer 3, go up to layers. We're going to merge the layer down. It basically just flattens these two layers for us. Merge it down. It is... All right. So it looks like that's not going to quite do what we want. See, I merged it down, and it took off that thing there. There might be a way around this, I'm not for sure. Yeah, that might pose a problem. There's got to be a way to work around it. I mean, if we flatten the image right now, it wouldn't do that. So I don't understand, why it's doing it like that. Let's see if it'll still... Oh, maybe this is how we're supposed to do this. Oh, nope. Messed that up. Well, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. I guess until then, we're just gonna have to move both segments at the same time, which is gonna be annoying. But, you know, you do what you gotta do for your memes. As you see, this isn't quite where we want it. I want to kind of... I can kind of tell where it's supposed to be there. You know, that actually doesn't look too bad. I actually kind of like where I'm sticking this. And I was gonna say we could just erase the boy himself by coloring him in, but this is actually fine. Of course, you know, it might be at this point better to just redraw this stuff. But maybe we can slide it back where it's supposed to go. It'd be helpful to have a good eye on this. Looks like it's not quite lined up right. As you see, we're missing a spot there, so maybe it's not as big as it needs to be. Well, I didn't change the size, so maybe that just needs more. But or maybe not, because maybe I'm gonna delete that segment anyways. But I think I slid that in pretty good. What I'm gonna do here is I'm actually just gonna erase Partis Turner because we don't need all this chunk. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to go through and erase some of the whiteness I drew, just to get this to merge and mesh nicely. And depending on what you're doing, this stuff can be time consuming. Or you can, you know, just be doing it really quick and no problem. You know, stuff like this though, where you're having to figure out a way how to put an image in where it doesn't seem like it'd be easy, you know, of course that's going to be time consuming. So there's a couple of things we could do with this. We could try to make the rest of his shirt blacker to make it look a little better. You know, because depending on whether or not you think that doesn't look good is up to you. Yeah, so when you're picking a color, you've got to be on the layer that you want to pick the color on. Otherwise, it's just going to hit transparency and it's not going to do anything. Let's decrease this a bit. I'm not sure this is the look I'm going for. But I mean, it doesn't hurt to just at least look and see what this would be like, you know. You know, at least here, you know, you got some pixels. Here, let me pull out a different color, because you don't want to make the whole thing black, otherwise you can't really see anything. Let's go ahead and hit a gray up. And let's kind of boost the tolerance up just a little bit. Let's try to fill in these cracks. You know, and I don't think that was enough tolerance. I want to be able to really hit these pixels without hitting the black. That's probably as close as I'm going to be able to get. That was not what I wanted to do. It's not either. Alright, I just realized there's another way I could be doing this that's a lot better, probably. well, I don't know if it's a lot better. It's also more dangerous. Get on my global flood mode. I want to make sure I'm not accidentally hitting anything else I'm not supposed to be. It looks like it kind of hit him. So let's decrease our tolerance a little bit. Try that again. Yeah, it didn't hit him as bad that time. Alright, and as you see, he is black and gray. Oh, and it looks like it kind of drew stuff around his face, or around his hair. Let's see how this just kind of looks in general. It actually doesn't look too bad. I'm just going to do some basic edits on it. Alright, where to go from here? I think I'm going to go ahead and flatten this image and kind of work on normally. As if it were like, you know, Microsoft Paint or something. I'm not sure what all this jazz is. What is that? Looks like some kind of image glitch or something that just... Is that a hand or... I don't know. Stuff like that could be deleted because doesn't really add anything. So it looks like he's got some hair here. I'm just gonna pick a little bit of this color. Hardness, I can really decrease this hardness so it blends better. Yeah, and that's a pretty sharp contrast here. As you see, that's probably not, well, it's just going to be hard to get away with that. Probably going to have to adopt this color, decrease the hardness even more, and then go back over it. Which, you know, my brush is so small that a small hardness doesn't seem to be doing much, actually. And I'm not sure if you think that does it look too good or not. I could trace back over this little dark line. It'd be really cool to have a cloner. Clone stamp. Let me see if I can figure out how to use this. Alright, there we go. Yeah, I remember using a function like this back with like PicMonkey. Which that's another good editing program. The only problem is you gotta pay for it. Alright, you don't want to do too much with this. Problem is it'll start to look like the same thing over and over again. Which can be a problem. It'll start to look glitchy and wrong. So you want to be careful not to overdo it. All right, that looks like a convincing shadow, maybe. Like it's, well, I'll make it a little bit taller and then it's close enough. You know, close enough to call good, I guess. You know, what you want is your audience to look at it, to get the point. They think it looks good. They don't notice any of the small details. You know, to them, that looks like a shadow coming back from Sterner's head. You can even make this a little bit bigger because it does look like part of his head is just not producing a shadow. There you go. That's convincing enough that you don't have to get to the very fine on that. You know, you could like anchor there and go down a little bit more to kind of create kind of that, you know, whatever. You know, you could say, you know, here's this shadow. You want it to be at the same angle, but at this point, 99% of your audience, if not more than 99% of your audience, will not even notice that, which is what we're going for. It doesn't even have to be perfect. You know, that's not the point. The point is to make a funny meme that people laugh at, they react to it, and that's it. They go about their day. Okay. I really don't know what the hell this is, but it looks weird, and I think I'm going to get rid of it. Now, I could play with this cloning stamp some more. It's actually pretty cool. Which I'm learning stuff with you here a little bit. You know, let's kind of create an anchor point. Let's just try here. How did I create my anchor point? Control C, it's not C. As you see, that's what happens when you get a little funky with that. I need to figure out how to set my anchor again. Yeah, I don't want more of that clunkiness, more of that glob of whatever the hell that is. Yeah, I need to figure out how to set this. It's got to be one of the letters on this keyboard. What did I just do? Oh, did I somehow... Oh, what did I just do? Figured it out, but I don't know what I just pressed. If I figure it out, I'll tell you guys what I did. Sorry, getting a little more comfy here. Control, was it W? No, that's gonna make me leave. Press one of these up here. Control S. No, let's save. Control A. That's not what I want. Control Q. Not what I want. Control E. Not what I want. Control F. Not what I want. It was one of those. I know for a fact it was. Oh, come on. Don't do this now, Avast. You know, let's just go. Maybe I have to click it first. I want to make sure this is still going. Okay. I don't want to get too crazy with the control functions, so I might accidentally click out of that. They gotta make this easier. Yeah, this program isn't gonna give me the option to edit my video. So You could just skip to the part where I figure this out. Yeah, I really hate how I just got rid of it, but I don't even know how. How did I even get rid of it? Anyways, now that I have it... Oh, I just have to control click? That's all I had to do this whole time? Okay. Alright. So we're gonna get rid of this funky mass of tumor, cancer, whatever the fuck this is. We're just gonna kind of get rid of this. But, you know, that doesn't look the best itself. Oh, shoot. Oh yeah, we got a control click, right? That's probably convincing. You're probably not going to look at that and be like, oh, that's one funky hand. Oh, that's one funky hand or whatever. Oh, shoot. Sorry, I'm getting clunky here. Alright, you look at that. You see his hand. Nothing looks too wrong with his hand. Maybe it's a little bit fuzzy. Maybe I should take the fuzzy out. You don't see a cancerous, tumorous, massive blob. You know, it looks like Sterner. You know, it doesn't look that bad. Although I do think there's a little bit more hair up here. I also kind of want to sharpen that a bit. That's convincing. Don't need to mess with that anymore. I'm already getting on to an hour here. Alright, let's just go ahead, make this a bit smaller. 20 is probably good for what we want. I'm going to click here. I'm just going to kind of clone this in. Yeah, so this cloning tool is probably a lot more useful than just like picking a color and drawing, because it'll actually like match the native colors and actually provide variety, as opposed to just being one solid color that just kind of stands out really bad. Alright. So let's see if I can't wrap this up in an hour's time, because an hour is plenty long to learn how to do something that you're interested in learning how to do. Alright, as you see, I have made my own anarchy balls to the very right. These are my anarcho-altruist balls. They're my little creation. I just kind of stuck them on this document. As you see, there was kind of a hard... I never showed you how to do that. So if you go to image, resize is going to change the whole image, including what is on the image. You're not going to want to do that if you're going to want to add stuff to like a document like this. You're going to want to change the canvas size, right? You don't want to resize. Then you would just decide, you know, the pixels, make it wider. It'll shoot a little extra segment on this, make it taller, it'll shoot a little extra segment on that. Add more resolution, it'll add some more resolution, which we don't need to do any of that. I'm just gonna steal one of these guys. Gonna copy him. All right, so remember, we need another layer to do this. Otherwise, you know, it's gonna get on our image, it's going to be slightly off, and we're not really going to be able to change it or fix it. So I put him on the face. He's a little bit easier to work with because he had a transparent background to begin with. It's okay that he has the bully look. You know, that just is what it is. It's supposed to be funny. Alright. So we got anarcho-altruist ball shoving Sterner in a locker. You know, something just to make them egoists mad. But I think I want to make this a little bit smaller. I don't think the image is centered very elegantly. or aesthetically, I mean. Crop to selection. That might be a little bit better. Or maybe the head is too big. It makes my anarcho-altruist ball look kind of almost fat or something. Perhaps I can make it smaller and work around. Yeah. Great patience leads to great results, or something like that. Let us make this slightly larger. That's what I meant to do, silly computer. We are on the wrong layer, buddy. And as you see, it's copying from the transparent background. I'm going to deselect. I'm going to set a new anchor point. I'm going to try this again. This is a very good way to do stuff like this, by the way. As you see, I'm just breaking up those lines more, so perhaps we should just do this, kind of, although I'm seeming to just make it worse. Oh yeah, it's off-center, that's why. Let's try this one more time. I'm gonna put this in the middle here. Or no, let me do that again. Put this in the middle here. We want it to stay in the middle so that it breaks the lines as little as possible. There we go. Now the head is a little bit smaller. I think that makes it look a little bit nicer. Got him shoving him in a locker. We could do something else, like put a flag on him. So I got my flag. Somewhere. And this could just be, for added effect. You want your meme to look like you put effort into it. You don't want it to look like something you threw together really quick. The audience is not going to know how much time you spent on your meme. If you had to do all this complex editing, they're not going to know that, And I did spend probably a little more time than what I probably needed to. But, I'm going through everything with you. I'm explaining it to you. I was trying to figure out how to do a couple things myself, So there's all that to consider. So, I'm not sure if there's a good spot to stick something like this. It could go on his back. Just kind of do something like this maybe with it. And maybe this isn't even what we want to do. Maybe we don't even want to mess with this. But every option can be a good option. Let's see what happens when we erase the edges here. Does it make it look good? Does it not look that good? Let's find out. We're not going to want to erase too close, though. We want it. We don't want it to go from being kind of gradient to kind of whatever. To sharp, I mean. Sorry, my thoughts trail off. So does that look good? I don't really think so. I think it distracts. I think it distracts from the overall purpose of the image, so I'm going to delete it. And sometimes you can do stuff like that. You you try to figure out if something works or not. And really, this isn't that bad of a meme. I mean, this is okay. This provides enough context, I think. You know, like what I could do is I could take this off, and I could use that. But only problem is I don't have it on transparent. You know, I could like stick it in places, but you know, maybe I'm kind of trying too hard on this. Next step could be: do we want to add some text to this? Do we want to make this say something? Let me show you how to do that. Let me show you how to do this properly. All right, let's add some pixels first of all. Doesn't really matter how many we add because we could just take them back off. All right, kind of broaden our canvas a little bit. We're just going to move this whole thing closer in. And of course, I forgot. We are going to want to flatten this. Of course, once you flatten it, you can't edit. You know, you can't edit the anarchy ball head or anything. It'll just all be one image. Also, if you notice, this is white. This is still transparent. Am I still going? I'm gonna be really. So, yeah, it was still going. I didn't see the icon. I tried to do it again, and I tried to finish it, but for some reason it didn't record the audio or video, or most of the video. So I'm going to try to do this one more time, and just kind of finish up where I left off. I mean, I was pretty close to done. There's just a couple things I was going to show you. Where did I throw this? Sorry, I'm not organized. Here we go. All right, so where I left off, I was showing you the difference between a white background and a transparent background. I'm just gonna throw something on the screen real quick, so just so I can kind of show you what I was doing. Okay, so let me erase some of this real quick. All right, you see, this is white, this is transparent. You know, there's a difference. It reads differently on the computer. White's a color, according to this program, and transparent is not. You know, if you have an image on something that's white, you put it on something else, it'll show the white. If it's just transparent around it, then it won't. So there is a way to get rid of the transparent. You can pick the whites and you can dump on the transparent, and that's what I did on this here. What I did next was I drew a box around the image. I mean, you can just, I mean, that's obviously way too thick. You know, something like that would have been fine for that. Then of course you can just do this. You know, crop to selection, and then you know we're kind of getting to where we are, and then you know you get your text out, make it white, make it the size you need. Except that's not at all what we need. When someone follows their self-interest. Yeah, so you make your text, you line it up, mix them down here if you need to mix them down there. And this was my end result. I mean, it's an okay meme. It's not the best thing I've ever done, but it'll sure to piss someone off, and you know, from thence we derive our pleasure as memers. So yeah, that's the basic kind of how to use this program. To save it, save as. I put stuffing in locker, save as type, JPEG. Already exists because, well, I already saved it. Make sure quality's up high. Press OK. Doesn't take long to save it. And that's all. Yeah, I think the rest you'd be able to figure out yourself. Toolbars at the top are pretty simple, just like most other programs. And thanks for watching.